was a cloud hanging over Manoa and the Warrior football program before this weekend, it may have just busted wide open after today's loss in Reno, putting UH on a losing streak that hasn't been seen in over a decade. But before we get to the negatives, let's begin with the positives. Questions surrounding quarterback Bryant Muniz, who suffered a concussion versus Boise State last week, but he didn't show any ill effects, especially in the first quarter. Kealoha Pilares hauls in the first score of the day. Then, one drive later, and this time, Javante Taylor is going to bust one wide open. He's got nothing but green pastures ahead of him. Hawaii scored twice in the first 7 minutes of the game, but then the bottom fell out, mainly because the Nevada Wolfpack is who we thought they were, especially this guy, Colin Kaepernick, going 38 yards for the touchdown. No one is going to bring him down. Nevada scored 21 unanswered points before the half and racked up 347 yards on the ground. UH would fall behind by 2 touchdowns in the fourth, but Muniz's third touchdown pass of the day finds Taylor again to bring Hawaii within 7. However, it was too little, too late. Hawaii falls 31-21, and in the process, they lost defensive back Richard Torres with an injured hamstring. Coach Mack says he's not sure how long the sophomore will be out. Next up, UH returns to the Aloha Stadium next week for homecoming night against Utah State. And do not forget, Sports Director Liz Chun is on the road with the Warriors, and we'll have a complete recap of Sunday's game in the Coach Mack Show this Sunday on KGMB at 10:35.
And now talking about that UH football game, despite striking first and fast, Warrior football team's losing streak extended to 6 games today as UH now falls to 0-5 in conference following a road loss to Nevada. UH led behind sophomore quarterback Bryant Muniz as the Warrior offense jumped out the gates, clicking on all cylinders. Lele Huagrat connected on 2 opening quarter touchdowns. The first, an 18-yarder to Kealoha Pilares. The second, a 71-yard haul and hustle from Javante Taylor as UH led 14-zip after 8 minutes of play. Muniz finished the game 29 of 49 for a career-high 374 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions, both coming in Nevada territory, and trailing by 2 scores. Nation's top rushing team went to their bread and butter, posting 28 unanswered points. Reigning WAC's Player of the Year, quarterback Colin Kaepernick, 114 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Running back Vi Taua added a game-high $127 and 1 score of his own. 31-21 Nevada the final. Wolfpack win their 5th straight game and are now 4-0 in conference, having beaten Hawaii for the first time in 4 years. In the loss, Taylor good for 6 receptions, 109 yards and 2 scores. Alex Green, 10 carries for 70 yards. That's a career high. UH now 0-5 in the WAC for the first time in 11 years. Up next for the guys in green, Utah State in Halawa next Saturday.
Warrior football team was in Nevada today trying to stop a 5-game losing streak and trying to turn the season around with a big upset win on the road. Behind Bryant Muniz back at quarterback, Warriors got out to a quick start, 8 plays, going 78 yards in 4 minutes. Muniz finishes the drive with the 18-yard strike to Kealoha Pilares. Warriors on the board first in this one, 7-0. Now, Hawaii's defense also turned up the heat. Lewis Walker stops Colin Kaepernick. That was the only time the Warriors would sack the Nevada signal caller, but it did give Hawaii the ball back. In the first snap of Hawaii's second possession, the Warriors shoot for the moon. Muniz tosses it to Javante Taylor, and he is gone up the sideline, 71 yards for the touchdown, making it 14-0 Warriors. Taylor's first score of his Warrior career, but it wouldn't last long. The Wolfpack started to move the ball on the ground behind the nation's best running game. A first quarter score by Kaepernick and then Vi Taua, who rushed the ball for 127 yards and 19 carries, and then his only score of the game came off the pass by Kaepernick. He had a hurt ankle, but didn't show it there. He works his way into the end zone. That tied the game at 14. And then, after a Muniz interception, it was Kaepernick's turn. Breaking through at the end of the half, a 38-yard touchdown run that puts Nevada up 21-14 at the break. Muniz and Warriors moved the ball in the third quarter, going 68 yards into the red zone, but his second interception of the game stopped the drive and turned it over to Nevada and into Nevada points. Kaepernick's second touchdown pass of the game, a 40-yarder to Trey Session. It was 28-14 after 3 quarters of play, but Hawaii didn't let down. Midway through the fourth quarter, Muniz hits Taylor again. That's a 4-yard score that cut the lead to 28-21, but that was as close as Hawaii would get. Nevada added a late field goal. Final score, Nevada beats Hawaii 31-21. Moniz finished 29 of 49 for 374 yards and 2 touchdown passes, but 2 costly interceptions. Hawaii loses its 6th straight game and drops to 0-5 in the Western Athletic Conference. Warriors at home next week for homecoming against Utah State.